Hi guys, welcome back. I thought I'd show you a preview of what we're going to make today at the beginning of this video, and it kind of looks like a vintage card shelf. Well, that's what I'm thinking. So let's get to it and I'll show you how to make this. So I have the Mama Elephant Scenescape builder, say that 3 times fast. And this is the first time I've used it, and it was so easy to put together. I also have the Christmas Ephemera pack and the vellum scenes from Tim Holtz from a couple of years ago, maybe now. And some vintage photo distress ink, which I've inked around the edge of all the pieces. I used some Nina Desert Storm for the main components, if you like. So before we get going on putting some of the pieces together, I have die cut a white panel from just white cardstock and one of the vellum pieces out of the same die. There's kind of a decorative die as the backdrop. And this is the dot adhesive sheet that I got in last month, maybe, or the month before. Simon's card kit. I think it was last month. Anyway. And I've not used it before, but I suddenly thought, actually, this is great for things like vellum, because vellum tends to be very difficult to actually glue down without seeing the adhesive, and this worked perfectly. So, so chuffed with that. So I cut it roughly to the size I needed, and then I pulled one part of the sheet off, so that exposed the sticky dots, and then I just carefully stuck that to the back of the vellum. And then I'm using a bone folder just to make sure that that bonds quite nicely to the vellum, and make sure that it adheres enough that when I pull this backer sheet off, it will then have all the dots stuck to the vellum. So you can see it's kind of sticky, and because I didn't know what I was doing, because it was the first time I was using it, I kind of went back and just burnished it again with the bone folder just to make sure. And that actually helped a bit. So I peeled off the second sheet, which as you're peeling off you can see that there's no adhesive on that sheet. It's all on the back of the vellum, and then just carefully adhered it to the white panel that I'd already cut out. And again, I'm burnishing it to make sure that those dots properly stick to the vellum and the white cardstock. And that way, putting it onto a white piece of cardstock, I'm just showing you how there's no sticky on there. Putting it onto white cardstock means that the vellum, the detail on the vellum will just show through a little better. If you want it more vintage, you could have just stuck it straight to the this Nina Desert Storm piece, so it's light brown, sort of like a craft colour. Now there's lots of pieces to this, and I've already put some adhesive on all the little tabs that it creates. For this first piece, I could have stuck it to the back of the main panel, but to be honest, you're not going to see it, you won't notice it, and I'll show you how we sort of get around that in a second. But you could stick these to the back of the piece, this main sort of backdrop, and then cut another piece and overlap that, so that that tab for the side sections is kind of tucked in between 2 pieces of cardstock. If you're that bothered about it. I just kind of rolled with it because this is where I was. So I'm just lining up the edge of these little side. This is what creates the side of the pop-up. It's kind of like a pop-up box, but like a slimline version. And then just to get around it, so it's sort of tied in, I just took the distress ink again. Didn't re-ink it, I just kind of added some colour. And by the time we stick this on, you can't really notice that there, and you won't notice so much either because you'll have all your layers in there. So I think it works out fine. So I'm going to kind of layer bit by bit. So I'm taking the vellum piece that we've just done, and that I'm going to layer in now. I kind of worked in stages, but it actually worked out quite well. So got that back in there, and I've got my sides on, or what will start to look like the sides of the slimline. And then I'm going to put the front piece on, which is kind of like a square, an oblong piece, just a straight edge. Now you can, there are two two different, I should have said this, there's two different styles of side. You can have this angled one, which I really liked. I think just adds a bit of character. Or you've got one that is a straight side, so it's kind of the same height as that front piece. And you also have the front piece that you could use as the insert, or you could, so it's got like a straight edge, or there is a rounded edge one, which is what we're going to use. The rounded edge one for me just gave me more room to stick things, so because it's a little bit higher, so that's what I chose to use. The side panels also have these decorative pieces. The decorative ones have got like stitching around the edges, same as that middle back one where we've got our vellum piece. And then I just found some tiny little kind of like stamps or adverts that were in the ephemera pack from Tim Holtz, and I just added those to the sides. So I'm kind of working as I go here. As I'm layering each section, I'm adding each bit in, and I actually found this quite easy to do, and I found it much easier than trying to add that stuff in afterwards, which is what I normally do. So this might be a better way to, you know, to work going forward. So for that front piece, I've only stuck one side, so only the left hand side, and there's a reason for this. This also has a decorative stitched piece that goes on the front, so I thought, why not, let's use as many pieces so you guys see as much as possible. And then for this front piece, if you look on like social media and that, you'll see I actually added something to the left hand side of this front panel. I just felt like there was something missing, so there's a little bit extra on there. But I just found this special delivery ephemera and just popped that on the front, and then one of the little hands that was in the pack as well. All these pieces are from that Christmas ephemera pack. There's so much in there. I managed to do this entire thing with it, and there's tons left. For the hand, I actually popped that up just to give some extra fun for it. And then I'm going to pop that to one side. So these are the three what I'm going to use as my inserts. These could be hills, it could be ocean, it could be whatever you want. Obviously I'm doing this kind of like a vintage card stand, like an old school sort of card stand. I don't know how else to say that. And so I'm just getting a rough idea on the panels, like how far up to glue each piece. And again, these are all from that same ephemera pack. I've inked the edges of all of these pieces, every single piece. And I love how the Nina kind of looks like burnt cookie, you know, like a gingerbread cookie or something. So it works really well for a vintage kind of Christmas. And I absolutely love how this turned out. It was just, I was kind of flying by the seat of my pants, but I love how it turned out. So I was trying to figure out where I wanted this. I had a rough idea before we even started, because I thought, well, that just helps save time for you guys as well. And I started off by sticking this flush kind of like so, as if they're all sort of just stuck at different angles in the box or in the card stand. And then I decided that actually I think I want some more dimension in there, because you're going to have some that are at the back, some of them are flopping forward, you know, all that sort of thing. So I grabbed some just some regular 3D foam and just added that onto it. I will add some extra, because there's actually, now we've got the other two cards there is actually extra space to stick more foam on it, just to, you know, help stabilize that piece that's in the front. But even if you didn't do that, it would still sort of sit quite nicely there and still give you that dimension. I think this is where I went off, because I forgot that I needed more. So grab some more foam dots, and then just going to stick that straight on there. Also at a little bit of an angle. I've not stuck the inside pieces or the the layers. I haven't stuck those in yet. I'm just kind of lining up the edges where the tabs are with the edge of where the side panels of the whole box will be, so that I get a rough idea of how high each layer is going to be, because they're all going to, when you stick them in the box, and you'll see this later, they'll all stick at the same level, but because of the pieces that you've put in there, you can then layer them at different heights, so that when your box then stands up, those things are at different, like as you're looking at it, it's slightly different heights. I don't know how else to say that, sorry. Hopefully it'll make more sense in a minute. So I'm just checking that I'm not going to suddenly, like on the next, so that first one we did was for the very back panel. So the next one in, I want the pieces to be slightly shorter than the one that's behind them, so that you get more depth and height to the different layers. So just checking that out. And again, I'm just putting these in different angles just to for a bit of extra interest, because if it was a proper old school vintage kind of card stand or card box, they wouldn't all be perfectly lined up. I mean, they'd be a bit squonk and a bit out of kilter. So that's the idea behind it. And then again, I'm just adding some pop dots. So the back two pieces will always be sort of stuck flat, and then the next one in front, I will add some dimension with some pop dots, foam dots, whatever you want to call them. And then I'm just also moving them around so they're not totally in the middle, so it's just more interest again. Now you can obviously add as many of these cards as possible as you want. You can you can keep adding and just keep building up each layer. I kept it fairly simple, 1 because of time, 2 just because but it still looks very effective, and I was really pleased with how it turned out. So for this last one, I'm going to again put the 2 sort of bigger panels down, and then the third one is going to go off to the side there, and that's the one that's going to pop up. So I've just kind of varied each layer just so that it makes it a bit more interesting for anybody who's going to get this or look at it or whatever. And also on the back panel, so on the main piece that's at the back, that helps build that whole scene, if you like, because you can create some beautiful scenes with this box card. At the back of this is where you could write your message if this was a card as such. This may just turn out to be a bit of display, as in a bit of decoration for us at Christmas, because I just think it turned out so cute. So to put these in, what you need to do is add your layers, line up the bottom of this layer with the bottom of the box, but also your tab needs to fit on that side panel. If you stick it anywhere else, it won't work. So it's the same principle for any pop-up card box, right? So I'm just double checking myself because it's been a while. So always put your little tabs for your inserts on they need to sit on the section that is your side section. So what I'm doing is I lined up where I wanted my first, or the back panel, and then I'm just lining up the next one sort of next to it, sort of eyeballing it. And then this one that's going to be in the front, I'm not putting it right against the front of the front panel, the front of the side section, because it'll end up being right at the front of the whole thing and you won't get that depth. So you need to kind of just line them up somewhat evenly. And then what you'll do is you'll fold them all flat, take all the tabs off for the sticky, and fold the right hand panel over, side panel over, and then just tuck your front piece in. And I did a little 1 2 3 to see if it was actually going to work, and it did. So that is it. That's all done. You've done all the decorating as you've gone step by step, and I just think it looks fab. I did think I needed something there, so I tried to find something while I was here. I was thinking this dog would be cute, but he was just way too big. And didn't make sense. I did try and find another hand that was going the opposite direction, because I thought that'd be kind of cool, but the other one that's in there is actually bigger and going the same direction. But I do find a little like stamp, looks like an old stamp, that I do stick on there. But like I say, if you check out my social media when this is launched, you'll see it there. So I hope you've enjoyed this, guys. I hope this was fun. I hope this is something different to do with your Mama Elephant Scenescape builder. And I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.